This is not just another moment in your life. This is not another day that will blend into the past. This is the moment everything begins to shift, the moment your spirit has been quietly preparing for, the moment your soul has been sensing long before your mind could understand it. If you are hearing this now, it is because you are among the chosen, not chosen above others, but chosen by awareness, chosen by readiness, chosen because your spirit has reached the point where truth can no longer be ignored. For a long time, you have felt different, not better, not worse, just different, as if you were living slightly out of sync with the world around you, as if the rules everyone else followed never quite fit you, as if your heart carried a deeper weight, a deeper knowing, a deeper sensitivity that you could never fully explain. That feeling was never a flaw. It was a signal, a sign that you were meant to awaken, not conform. You have walked through life feeling like you were waiting for something, something undefined, something distant, something that felt important but never fully arrived. You tried to silence that feeling by staying busy, by blending in, by following paths that made sense to others. But no matter how far you went, something inside you remained restless. That restlessness was not dissatisfaction. It was destiny calling you forward. The chosen are not chosen because their lives are easy. They are chosen because they can carry weight, because they can endure pressure without losing their humanity, because they can walk through confusion and still keep their heart open. You have been tested in ways that shaped you quietly. You have been pushed into solitude when others were surrounded by noise. You have been forced to grow internally while the world focused on appearances. None of this was accidental. You may have felt overlooked, misunderstood, delayed. You may have questioned why your life seemed harder than it needed to be, why things didn't flow the way they did for others. But what you didn't see was the preparation happening beneath the surface. While others were building comfort, you were building depth. While others were collecting approval, you were collecting wisdom. While others were distracted, you were being refined. This is the moment everything shifts because you are no longer who you were when the journey began. You have shed layers of illusion. You have faced parts of yourself most people avoid. You have survived moments that would have hardened someone else. Yet you remained sensitive, intuitive, aware. That sensitivity is not weakness, it is perception, and perception is power. You may notice that your tolerance for falsehood has disappeared. Conversations that lack depth feel draining. Environments built on chaos exhaust you. Relationships without honesty feel heavy. This is not arrogance, this is alignment. When the chosen awaken, their spirit rejects anything that does not resonate with truth. You can no longer pretend, you can no longer perform, you can no longer betray your inner knowing. The shift begins internally before it ever becomes visible externally. That is why you may feel unsettled right now. Old versions of yourself are dissolving. Old beliefs are losing their grip. Old fears are surfacing, not to control you, but to be released. You are standing at the threshold between who you were and who you are becoming. That threshold is uncomfortable, but it is sacred. You may feel moments of loneliness, even when surrounded by people. This is because your frequency has changed. You are no longer meant to be understood by everyone. You are meant to be aligned with those who can meet you where you are. The chosen often walk alone for a season, not as punishment, but as preparation. Solitude sharpens discernment. Silence strengthens intuition. Everything that has fallen away from your life recently did so for a reason. Connections that ended, opportunities that closed, versions of yourself that no longer fit. These were not losses, they were clearings. The shift you are entering requires space. Space in your mind, space in your heart, space in your energy. What is meant to arrive cannot enter a life cluttered with what no longer belongs. You are beginning to remember who you are beneath the conditioning, beneath the expectations, beneath the fear of being different. That remembrance is not loud. It is subtle, steady, undeniable. It feels like a quiet confidence returning to your bones, a sense of inner authority that does not need validation, a knowing that you no longer need to chase meaning because you are becoming it. The chosen are not here to impress the world, they are here to shift it, often simply by being who they are. Your presence carries weight now, your silence speaks louder than words, your boundaries teach others how to treat you. This is not something you learned overnight. It was forged through experience, through disappointment, through resilience. This moment marks the end of hesitation. Not because fear disappears, but because it no longer decides for you. You are learning to move forward even when the path is unclear. You are learning to trust your inner compass over external approval. You are learning that alignment matters more than acceptance. Something is unlocking inside you, a clarity you have never felt before, a calm strength that does not need to prove itself, a readiness to step into responsibility, not the burden of expectation, but the responsibility of living truthfully. This is the call of the chosen, not to dominate, but to awaken, not to escape the world, but to see it clearly. This is the moment everything shifts because you are finally ready to stand in your truth without shrinking. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are no longer asking to be seen. You are stepping forward because your soul recognizes the timing. And this is only the beginning. As this shift deepens, you may begin to notice that the way you experience the world is no longer the same. Things that once felt urgent now feel insignificant. Things that once felt impossible now feel negotiable. You are no longer reacting to life from the surface. You are responding from depth. This is one of the clearest signs that the moment has arrived. When everything is about to shift, perception changes first. You're starting to see patterns instead of isolated events. You're recognizing how moments from your past were never random, how certain struggles shaped specific strengths, how certain delays protected you from paths that would have limited you. The chosen do not receive clarity early, they receive it when they are strong enough to carry it. And now, that clarity is arriving. You may feel a growing distance between yourself and the person you used to be, not because you reject your past, but because you understand it. You no longer need to repeat old roles. You no longer need to prove resilience. You no longer need to survive. You're transitioning from endurance to embodiment, from coping to choosing, from reacting to directing. This is why your energy feels heavier in places that once felt neutral. You're no longer able to ignore misalignment. Your body responds before your mind does. Tightness when something is wrong. Ease when something is right. This is not anxiety, this is discernment. Your intuition is no longer whispering, it is speaking in sensations you cannot dismiss. You may also notice that certain people respond to you differently now. Some seem drawn to your presence as if they feel calm or clarity around you. Others may feel unsettled, defensive, or distant. This is not your responsibility to manage. When someone's energy rises, it naturally reveals the state of the energies around it. The chosen do not chase belonging, they reveal truth. There may be moments where you feel like you're standing still while everything around you moves. Do not mistake this for stagnation. This pause is intentional. This is the moment where your inner foundation is being strengthened. The universe slows you down before a major shift so that you are not pulled apart by the momentum of what's coming. Stillness is not delay, it is reinforcement. You are learning to trust silence, to trust space, to trust what is not yet visible. This is not blind faith, it is informed intuition. You have lived enough life to recognize when something is ending and when something is forming. The discomfort you feel now is not emptiness, it is compression, like energy gathering before release. The chosen often reach this moment after they have let go of illusions. Illusions about who they need to be, illusions about who will save them, illusions about where fulfillment comes from. You're no longer looking outward for answers that can only be found inward. That shift alone changes everything. You may find yourself revisiting old memories, not to relive them, but to reinterpret them. You're seeing past events with new eyes. Situations that once felt like failures now reveal themselves as redirections. Losses now appear as protection. Pain now appears as instruction. This reframing is not denial, it is integration. You are assembling the story of your life into meaning. This moment is also asking you to release guilt. Guilt for not being who others expected. Guilt for choosing differently. Guilt for changing. The chosen are not meant to remain familiar. Growth will always feel like betrayal to those who benefited from your old limits. You are not required to apologize for evolving. You're also beginning to understand that strength does not always look like effort. Sometimes it looks like restraint, like walking away, like not responding, like choosing peace over proving a point. This quieter strength is the kind that lasts. It is the kind that builds futures instead of burning energy. As everything shifts, your relationship with fear changes. Fear no longer disappears, but it loses authority. You can feel it without obeying it. You can acknowledge uncertainty without being paralyzed by it. This is not courage born from confidence. It is courage born from self-trust. You trust yourself to adapt, to respond, to endure, to grow. You are no longer seeking transformation. You are participating in it. This moment marks the point where you stop waiting for life to happen to you and begin meeting it consciously, where you stop asking why things happened and start asking how you will move forward with what you know now, where you stop hoping for clarity and start creating alignment. The chosen do not receive a map, they receive awareness. And awareness is enough. You may feel a quiet excitement beneath the uncertainty, a subtle anticipation that does not come from desire, but from recognition. Something inside you knows that the next phase of your life will require more honesty, more presence, more responsibility, but also more freedom. You are not being pushed into chaos. You are being invited into coherence. This is why you cannot return to who you were. The door has closed, even if you sometimes glance back. The path ahead may not be fully visible, but it feels true, and truth has a gravity of its own. This is the moment everything shifts, not because the world changes instantly, but because you have. And once you change internally, the external world has no choice but to respond. You are stepping into a role you were always meant to inhabit, not loudly, not dramatically, but authentically, with clarity, with grounded strength, with an awareness that does not seek validation. This half of the journey ends here, but the shift does not. It continues. Now that the shift has begun internally, you may start to feel a deeper sense of responsibility settling into your awareness. Not the kind of responsibility that feels heavy or forced, but the kind that feels inevitable. A knowing that you can no longer live casually, that your thoughts, your choices, your energy matter more than they ever did before. This is what happens when the chosen step into consciousness. Life stops being something that merely happens to you and becomes something you actively participate in. You are beginning to recognize the influence of your presence, the way your energy affects rooms, conversations, outcomes. You may notice that people open up to you unexpectedly, or that silence around you feels different, more intentional, more aware. This is not because you are trying to lead. It is because alignment carries gravity. When you are rooted in yourself, others feel it instinctively. You're also becoming more aware of where you leak energy, where you overextend, where you compromise your truth, where you engage out of habit rather than intention. This awareness is not meant to create guilt. It is meant to create sovereignty. You are learning to conserve your energy, to invest it where it matters, to stop scattering yourself across obligations that no longer resonate. The chosen are not here to save everyone. They are here to live truthfully. And truth has a ripple effect. This is why you may feel an increasing pull toward simplicity, toward clarity, toward depth over excess. You are no longer impressed by noise. You are no longer motivated by appearances. You are drawn to what is real, what is lasting, what is aligned. This shift in values is subtle, but it changes everything. It changes how you define success, how you measure progress, how you experience fulfillment. You may find yourself questioning long-held beliefs about success, love, purpose, identity, beliefs that were inherited rather than chosen, beliefs that once kept you safe but now keep you small. This questioning is not rebellion, it is refinement. You are separating truth from conditioning, and once that separation begins, there is no return to unconscious agreement. As this awareness deepens, you may feel moments of inner conflict. A part of you still wants familiarity. Another part demands growth. This tension is natural. It is the friction between comfort and calling. But notice this, even when comfort tempts you, it no longer satisfies you. You can feel when something is no longer meant for you. That feeling is your guidance. You are also learning that not all movement is progress. Sometimes the most powerful action is restraint. Waiting, observing, integrating. You are becoming comfortable with not rushing to conclusions, not forcing outcomes, not chasing validation. This patience is not passivity, it is precision. You are allowing alignment to form before action. This stage of the shift may feel quieter than expected. There may be no dramatic announcements, no sudden external rewards, but internally, everything is reorganizing. Foundations are being strengthened. Perception is being refined. Discernment is being sharpened. The chosen are built from the inside out. You may also notice a new relationship with solitude. It no longer feels like absence. It feels like clarity, like space to hear yourself think, like room to breathe without interference. Solitude becomes a tool rather than a threat. You begin to trust yourself enough to be alone with your thoughts without needing distraction. This shift also brings a deeper understanding of boundaries, not as walls, but as agreements with yourself. Agreements about what you will no longer tolerate, about how you will treat yourself, about what you will protect. These boundaries are not rigid, they are responsive. They evolve as you do, and they allow you to move through the world without losing yourself. You may begin to feel less reactive to other people's opinions. Praise no longer inflates you. Criticism no longer destabilizes you. You listen, but you are not defined. This emotional independence is a direct result of alignment. When you know who you are, external noise loses its power. The chosen often reach this stage after periods of deep self-doubt, after questioning their worth, their direction, their place. But doubt was never meant to stop you. It was meant to strip away false confidence and replace it with self-trust. The kind of trust that does not depend on outcomes. You are now operating from that trust. This shift is also awakening your sense of timing. You know when to act and when to wait, when to speak and when to remain silent, when to hold on and when to let go. This timing is not learned intellectually, it is felt. It comes from attunement, from listening to the subtle cues of your inner world. You may feel called to contribute in new ways, to express yourself differently, to live with more intention. This does not require a grand mission or public declaration. Sometimes purpose is expressed simply through how you show up, through integrity, through presence, through consistency, through the energy you bring into every interaction. The chosen do not seek recognition, they embody alignment, and alignment is felt. As this phase continues, you may experience moments of doubt, not about yourself, but about the world, about systems that feel misaligned, about values that feel hollow, about narratives that no longer make sense. This is not cynicism, it is clarity. You are seeing through illusions that once provided comfort. And while this can feel unsettling, it is also liberating. You are no longer obligated to participate in what does not resonate. You are free to choose differently, to opt out, to redefine success on your own terms. This freedom is not given, it is claimed, and you are claiming it now. This part of the shift is about integration, taking everything you have learned and allowing it to shape how you live, not just how you think. You are becoming congruent. Your inner values are beginning to match your outer actions. This congruence creates stability, and stability creates momentum. You are not rushing toward a future. You are stabilizing into a truth, and from that truth, everything else will follow. As this moment completes its shift, you may begin to notice a deep sense of inner steadiness taking root within you. Not excitement, not urgency, but certainty. A calm knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, even if you don't yet see the full picture. This certainty is not optimism. It is alignment. It is what happens when the chosen stop resisting who they are and begin standing in it. You're no longer waiting for life to validate you. You're no longer searching for permission to step forward. You're no longer negotiating with fear. Fear may still exist, but it no longer governs your decisions. You have learned something essential. Fear speaks loudly, but it does not speak wisely, and you no longer confuse volume with truth. This shift marks the moment when your inner authority fully returns to you. You trust your discernment. You trust your pace. You trust your ability to adapt. You no longer feel pressured to rush outcomes or force clarity. You understand that what is meant to align will do so when your energy is stable enough to receive it. Patience is no longer passive, it is strategic. You may now recognize how much you have already outgrown. Patterns that once controlled you no longer hold power. Emotional triggers that once destabilized you now pass through with less intensity. You are not suppressing emotions, you are processing them with awareness. This emotional maturity is one of the quietest yet strongest indicators that the shift is real. You're also beginning to understand that your path will not look like everyone else's. And for the first time, that realization does not create insecurity. It creates relief. You no longer measure your life against timelines that were never designed for you. You no longer feel behind. You no longer feel pressured to perform. You feel grounded in your own rhythm. The chosen do not arrive early. They arrive prepared. This preparation shows in how you handle uncertainty. You no longer panic when things are unclear. You no longer collapse when answers are delayed. You understand that clarity unfolds in layers, not all at once. And you trust yourself to navigate each layer as it comes. You may also notice a deepening sense of compassion within you, not only for others, but for yourself. You are no longer harsh with your past. You no longer criticize your growth. You recognize that every version of you did the best it could with the awareness it had. This self-compassion is not weakness, it is integration. It allows you to move forward without carrying unnecessary weight. Your energy is now less reactive and more intentional. You choose where you engage. You choose what you entertain. You choose what you invest in. This discernment protects your peace and amplifies your presence. You no longer feel obligated to respond to everything. Silence becomes a choice, not avoidance. This shift also refines your sense of purpose. You may realize that purpose is not a single role or destination, but a way of being. How you listen, how you speak, how you treat others, how you honor your values. Purpose becomes embodied, not pursued. And when purpose is embodied, life begins to feel coherent. You may begin to notice that opportunities align more naturally now. Not necessarily bigger or louder, but more fitting, more resonant, more sustainable. You are no longer drawn to what looks impressive. You are drawn to what feels right. This instinct protects you from paths that would drain you and guides you toward paths that will nourish you. The chosen are not immune to challenge, but they are no longer consumed by it. They see difficulty as information, as feedback, as refinement. This perspective does not eliminate struggle, but it prevents suffering from becoming identity. You are now able to hold complexity without fragmentation. You can feel deeply without being overwhelmed. You can face uncertainty without losing direction. You can grow without abandoning yourself. This capacity is not common. It is earned. And you have earned it through experience. This is why the shift had to take time, why it could not be rushed, why it required loss, confusion, patience, and introspection. What you are stepping into now requires stability, not speed, depth, not performance, presence, not perfection. You may feel a quiet confidence now that does not need reinforcement, a confidence rooted in self-trust rather than outcome. You no longer need to know exactly how things will unfold to know that you will be able to meet them. This is resilience refined into wisdom. The moment everything shifts is not marked by fireworks. It is marked by clarity, by calm, by an internal yes that does not require explanation. That moment is here. You are no longer becoming the chosen. You are recognizing yourself as one. Chosen not by superiority, but by responsibility. Chosen not by destiny alone, but by willingness. Chosen because you are ready to live consciously. From this point forward, you will move differently, speak differently, choose differently. Not because you are trying to change, but because you already have. The shift has happened. It may continue unfolding, but the direction is set. You are aligned, and alignment changes everything.